Did some repairs there.
You got a rocker there?
Is it in the budget?
Well, be careful. Sometimes it's
I'll be right back.
Oh, you got it out there?
Better check it.
Okay.
Better check it out.
Yeah, big stuff. They should all be wood benches up here and out there. I guarantee you get the business done. Ride the pine, save the time. Up here?
He grabbed the wrong binder. He's got it out there. So.
A memoir of best memories.
Yes. The cap was gone away as part of one of the bargaining chips. Yes. It was a 10% cap, and that went away. Yeah, it is gone. That's part of the new MOD. In fact, that's what I put down there. I think there's no cap anymore. There
When
was.
was this?
Not now. No, you can get as much as you want.
Except you put that down as a job reservoir.
A sergeant, you can't be.
This was in Las Vegas or
Goes to the grind.
Oh, Madeira. That's why they ran you out of there. You killed a lady. Jeez.
I gotta tell you, later I talked to Bigelow. And he was to have a whole year conversation. That was funny. You know which one I'm talking about? Oh, God.
we killed John Maury. The city killed John Maury over the property.
Yeah.
What was going to go on behind it. Or, city killed John.
Okay, we'll call the meeting order. The Newman City Council and Redevelopment Agency of January 9th, 2007. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Tonight, dear Lord, we ask you for your guidance. We ask you for your strength. We ask you to protect our citizens. And thank you for getting Tom here safely and on time. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike. Welcome, Tom. Oh,
Nice to have friends.
that's it. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Caton. Present. Kelly.
Present.
Martina.
Present.
Trinquois.
Present.
Mayor Fantasia.
Present. Declarations of conflicts of interest. Seeing none. Ceremonial matters, we have none this evening. Non-agenda items. If anybody from the public has anything that is not on the posted agenda and they would like to bring before us at this time. Seeing nothing. Agenda items. When the item comes before us and you'd like to comment, please raise your hand and come to the podium and try to keep, state your name and address and try to keep your comments under 3 minutes. Item 8, we have a public hearing this evening. Don't we or don't? We don't, no. Sorry. Item 9, consent calendar. Item A, approval of warrants. Item B, approval of minutes of the December 12th, 2006 regular meeting. Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 10, regular business. Item A, adopt resolution number 2007, next to number, approving the Hearthstone Ranch Storm Channel landscaping and authorizing the filing of a notice of completion.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Stated in your agenda, in the staff report, we received a letter from SEM Capital Company requesting that the city accept the landscaping improvements along Sherman Parkway, storm drain channel from Highway 33 to Barrington Avenue. Attached is a memorandum from Public Works Precision Inspection, Ray Little, and he is stating that all the improvements have been completed as per job plans and specifications. Public Works has also met with the superintendent from Capital Company, SCM Capital Company, Bud Cardoza. We went out there, we reviewed the whole area. We requested that they spruce the place up a little bit by adding additional plants, and they did. I believe they put in and planted an additional 23 plants, and also did some final spraying of herbicides. So staff recommendation is that we adopt that resolution accepting it. Any questions?
Questions for Ernie? Nope. If not, some direction from the council.
I move for adoption.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item B, adopt resolution number 2007, next to number, a resolution approving subdivision improvements in the Sherman Ranch subdivision and authorizing the filing of a notice of completion for Sherman Ranch Units 1, 2, and 3 improvements.
And again, included in this letter from SEM Capital Company, they're requesting acceptance of site improvements for Sherman Ranch subdivision units 1, 2, and 3. The landscaping improvements along Sherman Parkway and the storm drain channel from Barrington to Hills Ferry Road are not included in this request. Neither is the masonry sound wall. Again, all referenced improvements have been completed and inspected, and all work has been completed according to construction plans and specification. Staff recommendation is you adopt the resolution. Any questions?
No questions for Ernie? Direction then?
I move for adoption.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Ernie. Item C, City Council reorganization, selection of Mayor Pro Tem and committee assignments. Did everybody get the new handout that Judy just handed out tonight about the committee, exactly what they are? I know that wasn't in the packet for each committee. Let's start with Mayor Pro Tem first.
Open for nominations.
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Martina.
I'm okay with it.
Is there a second to that? All in favor of Councilor Martina being Mayor Pro Tem, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mayor Pro
Thank you.
Tem.
Do I get more pay?
I don't know, that's a good question. Not sure. Longer hours. Well, I will be gone for sure the March meeting. I'll be in Washington DC again, begging for money, so mark that down. Okay, well, let's just go down this list and real fast from last year. Stan Cog, I moved up from the alternate to the position on that. I was already sworn in last meeting. Also, I am on the board also, executive board, so. We need a alternate for Stan Cog's very important meeting. It meets the second Wednesday of every month. Tomorrow night is the meeting, 6 o'clock.
Ted, would you like that position? I'd be glad to nominate you.
I hate driving at night, but that'd be fine.
Are you able to go to the meeting tomorrow night?
Well, I'm gonna be in
Sacramento.
That's true. Bob, would you like to do that?
Sure, not a problem.
Only because,
one time. I'll take it the rest, but
okay,
I should be fine.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
That'll work.
And Judy
Okay.
will remind me of the dates.
There's very seldom that I can't go. Like I say,
It's called a plan.
you are the alternate, so I'm not too sure about the March meeting, what's gonna happen on that.
No, that's fine.
Since half the county is gonna be in Washington DC, they might just cancel the meeting or change it, so.
You just let me know.
But it's just a kind of a freak deal the way it's turning out for this one. The Alliance, that meets on 12 o'clock, a lunch meeting, so I will stay on that. That's hard for everyone else to go to. City selection and the mayors, those are automatically the mayor's committee. City county committee, everybody's on that. League executive committee, that would be Center Valley Division. I am the president of that, so I'll keep on that one. School liaison representative. I am on that right now with Bob. What does everybody think about that? You want to be on
I
that?
would like to be on that.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Kelly.
Okay.
Second that nomination. Do we need to vote in these, John?
You want to stay on that, or you want me to?
Okay, we'll just volunteer to you.
Whatever's
so.
convenient for you. I can stay on that, but if,
You want to stay on that? Okay. Okay, everybody consensus on that? Ted and Bob?
Okay.
Wastewater Treatment Task Force, I know Bob was on that too, if I remember right. Weren't you on that too?
No.
From
I think I
going
was
way
on
back?
that.
No, I
You
wasn't.
were on that?
If not, I'd like to be on that.
Okay, we're gonna change that to, where's my notes?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure Committee. Only because there's a lot of things coming up and it just doesn't cover sewer, you know, we have water issues and other surface water issues and stuff like that. So we will change that. Who's gonna be on that then?
I am.
You and me?
If that's agreeable, yes.
Okay. I'll stay on that one since those are usually sometimes daytime meetings also. EDAC, that meeting, I don't even know if I've been to a meeting on that. That's kind of something they have like once or twice a year. So I guess I'll cover that one since I'm not sure when they meet. Crozan Air Force Base Economic Development Committee, I'm on that and we're in hot debate, picking a developer as the supervisor can attest, so I will stay on that one. Tosca,
I like to do that. I'm already on the board of directors and vice president this year, so I'd like to, I can be the task representative for council. Well, it's not a voting position anyway.
okay? Everybody concur with that? Solid Waste Task Force, that also is a daytime meeting at the county. I will stay on that if that's okay with everyone. Chamber of Commerce. How come I'm on that one too? Anybody wanna? Does anybody wanna go to a 12 o'clock meeting? Not really. It went back to where nobody else could go to daytime meetings. That's how it all evolved, but, I guess I will stay on that one then, since nobody's raising their hands. West Side Theater Liaison. Mike, I know you went to one or two meetings.
Yep.
Are you able to go maybe
Sure. that's
more
not a
frequently if possible, or need be,
problem.
or?
If needed be.
Okay.
And Mike, I'll be an alternate for you. If there's a time you can't go, I'd be more than happy to go. I
Well,
I
I'll give it up,
volunteered down
Ted,
there
if-
anyway.
No, I'll be an alternate after him.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Okay. Cable TV Committee. Do we need that still? Michael, do you think, or?
You know, that was formed when we were negotiating a franchise agreement.
Yeah.
I would just recommend we probably keep the same two on there. I don't anticipate anything moving forward. So.
In case something comes up, I know there was.
Yeah, well, you know, you can call it a franchise agreement committee, and you know, if then that other one comes available, or we need to negotiate another one, we can follow through with that, and not just limit it to cable TV. Maybe a public utilities committee or something like that.
We could do that.
yeah.
Would
good
this
title.
take in also any movie people that wanted to come to town again?
Not necessarily. You know,
Could
we have
Could
current,
it and or should it?
well, you know, we have a current ordinance
We
on
came,
there.
yeah, we
Okay.
come up with an ordinance on that, yeah, about
Yeah.
movies and commercials and different
So
things. So,
if-
yeah.
with the council's concurrent, we'll just call that a public utilities committee. And then if there are any public utility issues that become available, you know, there are the public utilities right now, and I say public utilities, it's mostly PG&E and the cable, they're trying to increase their public utility easement in people's front yards from 7 feet to 10 feet, which means 10 foot into your yard, they could put a big old box. And the city's not necessarily
Yeah.
in agreement with that. So there's some real negotiations that are going on with that right now, so.
Also, there was all that new legislation about deregulate and stuff like that.
That's
So that's
correct,
very
yeah.
important to keep an eye on that. On the other list that I had that explains the committees, we had a downtown streetscape committee, which also met as the plaza committee a couple times. And I don't remember, Judy, was anybody
Well,
on
there's
that?
a bunch of people, but that doesn't change right now, I don't,
Okay.
it's just these.
It's just on these here, okay. What else? Something that me and Micah were thinking about possibly is coming up with a public safety committee. Not only police, but fire issues also, and that could carry over to county issues, state, even federal. I know there's a lot of legislation coming down the pike on a lot of different things.
Also, 911 service, that's all part of it too, that, the city has been talking with the county and looking at other options.
Homeland security stuff, exactly. And I'm going to nominate myself for that one, only because I sit on the county's 911 board. Another meeting I get to, and that's a daytime meeting that meets every other month or as needed. Sometimes emergency meeting is called, something's happened, you just never know. It's kind of mainly for, like I say, 911 response throughout the county. And since we don't have our own 911, we contract through the county. So I sit on that representing us. Pardon me? Yes. So we need a volunteer for that.
Did you just nominate yourself?
Well, I'd like to have maybe 2 people on there.
I'd be more than happy to serve with you.
Nate understands that a lot better than I do.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
I guess if any issue would come up in Newman with a conflict, then we'll just,
Sure.
Other than that, county, state, federal deals work out. Everybody concur with that, or
Yes.
Yeah.
gentlemen down here? Okay. Moving on. Unless I forgot a committee. Judy knows he's better than me. Done? Okay. Since I had 2 different papers here. Item 11, items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. You should have received your invitations to our employee appreciation dinner, and that will be on January 26th. So we'll be expecting full attendance on that. We've also extended invitation to our 2 former members that were members of the council throughout 2006. So we kind of include them as part of it because this is the 2006 appreciation dinner. So. And commissioners as well, people that have served on our commissions, Planning Commission, Parks and Recs, and Architectural Review Committee. Another way to kind of thank them as well. I did get an email from Angie Gutierrez, who is an assistant to the CEO at the Alliance. They would like to set up a meeting with myself, and they requested the mayor and any other council members that are interested in discussing the relationship between the Alliance and the city and the Alliance's future plans, and as they develop their next strategic plan and moving forward on that. For any council member that may not be aware, the Alliance is a private-public partnership that focuses on economic development issues throughout the county and trying to help businesses locate here, as well as find appropriate sites for businesses that have contacted them that want to locate into Stanislaus County. Then they go take it to the next level where they try to meet with individual cities. They keep an inventory of available sites the cities have so that potential businesses could move into the area. So anyways, so what I am requesting is any other council members that would like to meet, and if so, some dates and times that are generally you're available, and I can respond to Mr. Bassett and see where we're at.
We're gonna have,
When did they usually hold those meetings?
Generally in midday in the afternoon, but typically they're between 8 and 5. But if you had another preference, we can always throw it out there. Is there a possibility to meet after hours, if you so desire?
How long a meeting is it usually, Michael?
Generally about an hour. They like to walk you through what's going on at their programs and what programs they have to offer on a county-wide basis. Respond to any questions that you may have about their their public-private partnership, who's involved with that, where the funding comes from, and their success rate.
I think one of the things that's coming down the pike too is this enterprise zone. South County was identified as an enterprise zone. And
Correct.
I just wanted to open up initial talks with everybody on the west side. I
Right.
know Patterson's working on it right now, so.
Well, Patterson actually just got annexed into their enterprise zone. So the next goal is to get Newman, a piece of Newman annexed in. They don't annex our whole city because there's a limited amount of acreage that's available. What we're trying to do right now, and it's kind of tricky, is run a little, it all has to be contiguous. So we want to run like a little spur down the railroad line, if you will, just a real thin swath, so you don't eat up a whole bunch of land, and then you take in some of our larger sites and move it forward. One of our issues that we're working with right now, and I've been talking to them about, is you know, we're getting ready to do some annexations. You know, if you look at Newman right now, we don't have real large tracts of commercial property that idly sit vacant, that really qualify for bringing a company in. It's all, enterprise zone is all based on tax incentives that companies get for moving your business here or expanding your businesses, so.
It'd be
But-
something for the future. to
Yeah,
kind
but
of
we will be
keep an eye
working
on.
with our local businesses. We'll probably have a conversation with FNA and see about expansion possibilities for them. Flange, you know, they've cleaned up a little bit over there. You know, we do have a couple sites, Damari and, you know, over there at Merced and Highway 33. There's a vacant site there that could be that's currently underutilized. So we'll be doing some of our homework after talking with them and seeing what's going to be the best fit for City of Newman. So if you could email me your available times or talk to me afterwards, and I'll get some times out back to you guys. That's for Tom. Got one just for you, Tom. As you know, Judy Silber has retired, but we drag her back here. Thank God. But we are in the process of filling that position with another person. We have interviewed people, and so we're doing our due diligence right now, doing some background reports on those, and hopefully next week is probably introduce somebody as Judy's replacement and moving it forward on there. But you know, as you can see, even tonight, you know, there were times when, you know, we looked at Judy and said, Judy, and get some information from her. There's 35 years of history and knowledge in that lady, so we appreciate everything she's done.
She was very stubborn too. She didn't want to party, but we'll get her one day. Small scale.
I am pleased to say that the interview committee that we had for the Aquatic Center has come to an agreement on who we'd like to hire. I will be meeting with them next week and going over a master contract agreement. And kind of similar to other projects of what we've done is we want to do a master agreement, and then we'll bring task orders before this committee as the project evolves. You know, first we'll do a small feasibility study, just kind of looking at different sites, and then hone in on what our scope of work really is, and get the best price available for us and moving that project forward. So I'm very excited about the committee, the team that we're selecting. I think the opportunity here is to bring a first-class facility that you're going to see in places like Livermore and San Ramon and Concord. The mayor went on that tour with us, and those are first-class facilities. And what you're going to see is a lot of those communities, they're above 20 and 30,000 people, and here we are, Newman, doing it at 10,000, and that's a real testament to this community and to this council, you know, and stepping forward and saying this is an important project for our community, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it a first-class project, and I commend you on that. So we look forward to that, and we'll continue to bring information forward to you on that. As you know, we're getting to the final stages of our general plan. We're getting set for public hearing next week and bringing that forward to the council in February. Once that is all completed, one thing I would like to do, and I don't necessarily need a response tonight from the council, but I'd like to think about it, is sitting down with the council on the weekend and having a goal-setting workshop. so we can lay out some goals that we'd like to accomplish over the next year and the next 2 years, and making sure that staff is on the same page as the council, you know, and giving us some things and targets that we as staff want to hit and make sure that we're doing for the council and get some milestones out there as well. So I'm going to start looking through for professional facilitators to kind of lead and guide us through that process. And hopefully it may be in the next meeting or two I can come back with some proposals for you so that we can move this thing forward. I think it's an important step as we have a new council, we have new council members, that we do that. And it's important for staff as well, because we want to have clear direction from the council on what your priorities are, so we can make sure that we're, you know, correctly using our energy to get those done. So. And lastly, each of you have been set up with a city email account. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to, but it's there for you. You can access it from any internet accessible computer throughout the world. So if you're interested, and then let us know, we'll tell you exactly how to access that site. So with that, that's all that I have for you.
Michael, just a couple quick questions. We have a couple commissions vacancies up this month and next month. Have we heard from the people that are on there if they wanted to stay on those, or have we got any response?
Yeah, at the next meeting, we'll be bringing forward people who have submitted their names for the planning commission.
Okay.
And
Rec commission too, didn't we have some openings on rec?
Yes, and I think when do you recall when that advertisement is completed?
Well, we did a general one already.
Oh, we did a
And then we
general.
have
Okay.
at least one.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, so we'll take a good look at that and see where we're at, and we'll bring that
Okay.
forward to at least planning commission at the next meeting, and then parks and recs. If we can do that at the next meeting, we will move it forward.
Okay, thank you. Other staff reports?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Just a few things. One is we have, make you aware that we are down one position, and we have a oral board looking at trying to fill that position on coming Friday. And we will be working on trying to, between the background and other things that have to happen on that, to get that position filled and person on the street. Secondly, what we're looking at is, we're looking at, for January and part of February, on beefing up some of our traffic enforcement on Hills Ferry. We're trying to get that between Driscoll and Sherman Parkway. Also looking at trying to get a speed survey done, completing that, and doing an educational thing with the public on that. So just trying to make people aware of that at this point. After that, we're going to be moving into February and March, because we have a couple of speed surveys that will be expiring on Canal School, so we'll be doing the same thing, moving over there and trying to step up some enforcement, some education with the public on that. So, and the third thing I have is our records are a little bit lighter now. We have after 30-something years, I think, of records, we got rid of 80 boxes this morning, and they went to the incinerator up in Crow's Landing. So we have a little bit of room, so hopefully we won't just fill it up so quickly. With that, is there any questions for me regarding the police department?
Mike, I had one question. You talked about the speed on Hills Ferry. You're going to review that. Is that correct?
Yes.
I just hope we don't go the wrong way with that speed, because I know we compared it to Canal School Road, and what my concern is that area, of course, is going to have a lot of activity. So I'd hate to see it go up to 45 like we have over on Canal School Road. So I don't know.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're looking at trying to do an educational process, or we're going to be trying to beef up our contacts with motorists over there to educate them that the speed limit is 35 at this point. But then we'll do the survey and see where that takes the speed limit at that point.
Sounds fair.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mike, I've got a question for you. This is in response to a letter that we received, all the council members did, from one of our citizens, and it pertains to an incident over on Duck Blind Circle. The question I have is, after these people called in 9/11, it seems that the response back to the individual who made the call either doesn't happen or takes a long time for it to happen. And I know, me personally, I would be upset if I called 911 and there was a long period of time before someone responded with either a personal call back to me saying, we've got it under control, or there's an officer on the way. But a no contact whatsoever bothers me. And I just wanted to get your views on it. Maybe I'm interpreting what I'm reading incorrectly.
My understanding is we did make contact. The issue was the time length that it took for us to respond. That was the concern that was brought up out of that
Right,
email.
that's the same
And what we're looking
concern.
at is we had two officers that were on, both are on different calls. One was on a traffic stop and the other one was actually handling a call. Plus the fact that we were looking at, this was supposed to be a wanted person that they were looking at. We were wanting to confirm that information before we actually made it to that scene. So we were trying to confirm that through the dispatch to make sure that we had what kind of person we were looking at. And basically the call came down as a suspicious person. That's how the call came down. So it was prioritized on a low priority at that point.
We had that same problem a while back when the preschool called in and there was someone over by the library and they were urinating in the bushes, and there was a long time before anybody responded back to them. Can we initiate some type of quicker response, at least a phone call back saying, oh, we've got your request and we will get there as quick as we can, just so that people on the other end realize that you do have it and you are approaching taking care of it?
That is something that I can research and come back with you. That would be more of a dispatch issue. And as we talked about earlier, we don't run our own dispatch. We run through Regional 911. So that's something I can bring up with the manager over there and see if there's something that we can
Well, but once
apply
they
towards that.
dispatch the call to you, can you then call the individual who made the 911
If the number
call?
is taken, then we can get through the MBTs.
Part of the problem, Mike, is the police department's dispatch out of a central communication center, so you got one dispatcher. Well, you may have one dispatcher, you may have several complaint takers who's handling all the calls that are coming in, and they're routing those calls to dispatchers. What they do is they'll send them on a priority basis. If it's a non-priority call, and if there's a big instance, big situation going on somewhere else in the county, that call will fall down on the call list if it's not a priority. So I think in terms of what Chief's trying to say, if to have those dispatchers call back to that person, say, we got your call, somebody will be en route. I don't know if that's a possibility.
That's something I'd have to investigate. to see
Yeah,
if that's even a
But is
possibility.
it possible for our police department to call back our citizens and say, we received your call and we're gonna get there, can't give you a timeline, but we
It
will
really
be there.
depends if that information is, we do have the computer dispatch, so there, if it hits the screen with a phone number, we would be able to make that call back, and that would be something that would be just a policy on our part. But we don't always, sometimes that information isn't available to us where they actually get the phone number for us to be able to make that call. So, it's something I'll have to research and get back with you on.
into the comm center.
If you would follow up on that and
Yes.
see if that's possible, and then.
I'll give the director a call over at Regional 911, and then I'll see what our capabilities are as well.
I think our citizens would feel a lot better if they did receive a call back, that they made a 911 call and it didn't get lost in cyberspace someplace.
Okay.
And there are times that probably that the officer who's responding to that particular call is if he got sidetracked dispatch or on another call or saw something on the way, whatever, that officer sometimes would have the ability to call from the car, and if it shows up on the screen who the reporting party is, what their phone number is, oftentimes that is added as part of the dispatch call. The officer, if he had time, could probably make that call if he had time to do that.
Well, I'd rather have one of our officers call the person and talk to him one-on-one than call a dispatch and have them prioritize the call according to the way they interpret it, because their interpretation and the officer at hand sure could be a vast difference.
Could be.
Yeah, I'll have to get back with you on that one, but
If
as
you
far as
would, I'd
prioritizing
appreciate
the
it.
calls, that's done at dispatch level, we can make a change. But number one is we don't have all the information that dispatch has been able to make that decision on, so.
Well, don't they usually ask name and address?
That's usually, yeah, that's normally what they get, sometimes phone numbers for a callback. or they automatically come up. But that, sometimes it doesn't meet onto our screen that we have in the car. So, I'll have to get back with you on that.
Mike, could I have a follow-up on that?
Sure.
As far as the time that it actually took them to get there, I think it said 25 minutes, but does that indicate how soon you actually received the call?
That was one of the things that we were researching, and we didn't actually, the call didn't make it to the officers until, well, it was held for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then the officers had to clear those calls before they actually responded.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, I'd just like to comment. First, on your reports you submit to us, thanks. They contain information that I wanted to see. First on the radar trailer, and I don't know if you've had the opportunity to go to the OTS website as far as grants. I was happened to be looking at it 2 weeks ago for the sheriff's department and see if there's any way I could finagle money out of the state. There's tons and tons of money in grants for everything from the lights that flash when people cross crosswalks. So that's a couple things I was looking at for a couple of our schools that are located out in the county. But there's also tons of money available for traffic, for radar trailers, DRI trailers, all the same stuff that we currently have that could be purchased through the OTS. However, the cutoff for submission of grants is the end of this month, so if somebody was to do it, they'd have to jump on. But it's a pretty easy process. The grant period is a 2-year period, and if someone had the initiative to write a grant, OTS, which is Office of Traffic Safety, doles out money. I mean, they've got, the governor approved $3.7 million for DUI enforcement for this year, so you might want to take a look at that as an avenue. I don't know, you know, $6,000 to $9,000 to buy a new radar trailer. If indeed ours is to the point where it can't be replaced, repaired, I don't know the status of it. It's a valuable tool, and I'd like to see us, you know, try to approach getting a grant, and because the money, it's there, but somebody just has to have the initiative to write the grant. And I wrote several of them, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. Secondly, on the retention recruitment, it looks obviously very familiar to me. It's very similar to the one I submitted, and I think the information provided is awfully accurate, and it's something that I submitted to the city years ago, and it kind of fell by the wayside. I just like to emphasize again, I think the key, and for the rest of the council to understand that even when I submitted it 3 years ago, the key to this whole thing is getting officers to move to town, and I'm thoroughly convinced of that. There's a housing incentive that goes along with the low interest, no interest loan that the city did put up a tune of $60,000 for an officer to assist them buying a home. It's nice to have, folks, but we got to get them here first. And that 10% was something that I waived in front of the officers, and at the time, every officer except for one said that they would have bought in on that project. I'm just basically saying I think it's time we either put up or shut up, and I think we need to get our officers to move here. And the key to this retention plan is the very last paragraph that Chief put in here is a housing incentive. It's 10%. I'm a firm believer, if they live in this community, they have a vested interest in this community, they're gonna be part of this community. I'm a living testament to that. I had plenty of opportunities to leave this city years ago, but I had a family here. I didn't want to uproot them. I wanted to stay here. I'm convinced that just that 10% to get those officers to move into town, make them be part of this community, because it changes the way they do business, fellas. It does. I guarantee you that. And we need to get our employees to live in this community, be a part of the community, have that vested interest. And I just want to point that out. I appreciate you putting all the information in here. And again, I'll just say that last paragraph is key to this whole plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Terry? Ernie?
Evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Just want to let you know, youth basketball starts this Saturday with games at Oristemba High School and Hunt Elementary. We have 189 participants this year with 22 teams. The men's league starts Sunday. We have 11 teams. That's the most teams we've had in the 3.5 years I've been here. We were in the process of setting down our 2007 calendar, and we're looking at a spring, in addition to the normal programs, a spring co-ed mush ball league, and in the late fall, possibly a youth flag football league. Any questions?
Question for Terry? Thank you.
Thank you.
What is mush ball?
Mush ball?
Oh my
It's
God.
like a,
I'm sorry.
it's like a,
Big ball.
it's
You
like
know
a
what mush ball
softball, but
is?
it's bigger.
Oh, it's bigger than a softball. It's, yeah.
It's a mush
Chicago.
ball.
Bigger,
That's
right?
what they
It's
play
like-
in Chicago.
Chicago?
It's what they call mush ball.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what
Welcome
Chicago's
to
the first
Newman,
time I ever
Newman,
saw
yeah.
that.
You played
I
baseball,
know.
huh?
Yeah, they shoot you in Chicago.
Over the game, probably. Sorry, Ernie, go ahead.
No, no problem, no. As soon as we finish taking down our Christmas lights, which will be sometime tomorrow, we'll get into tree trimming and mistletoe abatement. We'll be sending out abatement notices also to the private property owners. And we're gonna get some concrete work done, a couple of handicap ramps that need to be installed over in the Terry Field. Any questions? Or the
Bingo
bingo board,
board.
yes. We're also gonna get that bingo board.
Got that on order?
It's
Okay.
here.
Oh,
All
it's
we
here.
need to
Oh,
do is
okay.
schedule and have it put up, and we told them we'll.
Is that the new electronic one that you were talking about?
Ernie, I've got a question
Sure.
for you on the PCI calculations. Some of them are highlighted.
Mhm.
What are the important numbers in these columns that determine what needs to be replaced, redone?
Okay, where I highlighted the streets, those are the ones that we talked about, L Street and M Street, and also P Street and R Street, which Councilmember Caton brought up. If you'll look at the first column where it says PCI, that's Pavement Condition Index, and you'll see a number. The numbers go from 0 to 100, 100 being perfect, and then from there they go down. You'll see a high of 70 there for L Street, the very first one. That means that that's the best any section of that street is. And then you'll see a PCI low, which is 34. So your overall rating for that street is 52. And so that shows that you have a real poor section of 34. It doesn't say just how much of a street, but you also have a fairly good section at 70, and overall rating is 52. What we wanted to do was to see if we could get the computer to give us a listing as far as the street conditions so that we could rate them as such. But because it does give you a high, a low, and an overall rating, it can't do it, so it just gives us to us in alphabetical order.
Ernie, I'd like to thank you for this. I spent about an hour with Ernie yesterday, so I have a better understanding of this, because it was mentioned at the last meeting that maybe the new council members ought to have a copy of the pavement management system. So when I got it, I tried to make sense of it, and I read it, and I thought I had a pretty good handle on it, so I went and spent an hour with Ernie so he could explain it to me. And it pretty much verified what I already thought, but it gave me a better understanding of what our pavement management system is. The fact that we have one for 5 years, the fact that we don't use it. We have a pavement management system, but it's not implemented. We don't use it. And a lot of it is fund-driven, and I understand that, and I understand StanCog kicks down money to the city, and we have $190,000 on hand, roughly, what we have.
Well, I found that we have a little bit more than
Oh,
that.
cool. See, that's
so-
even better.
Yes.
So we have, and StanCog gives us funds, and so Ernie has held those funds so we can get enough built up so we can do something with these programs. And the streets that he listed, L Street and M Street, and part of Driscoll are streets that he had to submit something to the county in order for us to qualify for the money. So I've obviously I've driven every street in this community for a long time. And I agree that L Street, Ernie, thank you, I did go take a closer look at that. And if you look at L Street, the low point is 34 on the PCI report. But the street is in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, the numbers have dropped because this was rated 5 years ago,
Yeah,
so.
5 years ago. However, I still contend, and even based on this information, and what I thought was really interesting is about halfway down, it says pay now or pay later. And I think we're gonna pay a whole bunch, because price of everything is skyrocketed. I'm still convinced that, as silly as it may seem, P and R Street, that have that center overlay, are streets that need to be completed. I don't think M Street is as bad, and Driscoll is a highly traveled street, and I agree with Ernie that needs to be done. But he seems to think that M Street could wait, and if the funding comes through, if Stancog, gives us enough funding and the bid process comes in low enough, we might be able to do P Street, R Street, L Street, and possibly even Driscoll, and maybe even kick down M Street if it falls into that, if we have enough money. And I just state my case again. I'd like to see R Street and P Street added to the short list of streets to be done. Because, if you look at the PCI, on P Street, it's 43, and it's nearing reconstruction based on this. Correct?
Mhm.
So thanks for educating me, and I just felt it was important for me to go spend some time with Ernie so he could explain to me. So when I ask what appears to be dumb questions, they're not really that dumb. I still think that P Street and R Street, that had that center overlay in 1979, deserve a little bit of attention.
Okay, and just to give you a little update as to up to today, because I followed up talking with the county and also meeting with Bruce Budman on the finance end of this and trying to figure out where our monies are and what has happened in the past. We have the monies from 0405 and 0506, and those total around 200,000. The ones prior to that were used to when they did the M Street and the L Street reconstruction. Remember the industrial area that took a big chunk, I think of about $1 million? So that's where that money was used at that time. We also found out that AB 2928, which is the Traffic Congestion Relief Fund, they provided us also additional monies. And that accounts for, I think that gives us about 100,000 is what Bruce's best guesstimate is on that. So we do have on hand about $300,000. Now, we also received through an email that the State Controller's Office has substantially increased the State Transit Assistance Funds. And by resubmitting an application, which we've already completed and we're ready to submit, we can ask for an additional $74,000 to the amount of money that we're going to be getting for this year, 06-07. And that should be going to the Policy Board on February the 14th. So as soon as that gets approved, then we have those additional monies. I did some crunching on the numbers on as to what they cited on the for overlays, and of course they had it down at about $13 per square yard. And so I said, well, if we go up to maybe $17 per square yard, found that we could probably get L Street, M Street done for $40,000 to $50,000. Driscoll anywhere from about 30 to 40, which would leave plenty of money to do P Street and R Street, probably even both of those sections that have the low numbers.
And I think the added part of that is both those streets, all the utilities are ran through the alley, so it's not going to interfere with utilities. And I know, the street that the mayor lives on is exceptionally bad, but there's utility issues that are going to be dealt with.
The whole
On
water
that whole-
system
that
needs to
whole
be
section.
replaced.
Right,
yeah.
plus that
Yeah.
section of our street where Mike lives, that section also, you can't, it's listed on there, but you can't do it without going in there and replacing all those
Everything needs to
water
be replaced,
services.
yeah.
and we're not necessarily locked in on the streets the name of the streets that we notified Stancog in. Am I correct?
No, all we have to do is state to them that we're applying the funds and we're exercising the preventative maintenance program. And so they're not gonna look at saying, well, no, you have to do a certain street type. And again, this is just a guide for you to go by and say, well, you gotta have a program. By state law, we need to have a preventative maintenance system. I talked with the county. The county said that there was ample time to submit additional streets so that they could prepare the bid documents and also to do engineer's estimates on them. However, they also stated that we needed to do a NEPA and a CEQA documents on that, which is additional work, and we need assistance with that.
There might be some LTF money too, some new money coming down the pike too. Did you get that email also?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but we won't get that money
Yeah,
until
that's-
later on. That is not included in this, the
Yeah.
300,000 we have.
I think it said 50,000 or something from LTF possible or
It
something like
has
that.
23,000 from 04, 05. Actually, it's 24,000, 23,000 something, and then the other one is 49, so it's about a total of 74.
Between both, yeah.
Yeah, which is good news.
Not bad.
That's good. Thanks, Ernie. I just wanted to mention that, and I appreciate you spending some time with me.
Any other
Questions for Ernie?
questions?
Thank you, Ernie.
Hmm?
No reports from our fire chief this evening? Everything's good? Everything's good? No fires? Everything good? No problems or? Building it then already? They're building it already then? Yeah. When are you scheduled to go back and review it? Right before?
I'll probably go in a March or so, check it out,
Good.
everything's doing, so
Sounds good. Thank you.
we're gonna do a meeting Monday night, you guys wanna show up?
This coming Monday? Third Monday, huh? I always
What's on the
forget.
menu?
Third Monday, I always forget. I write that down.
What's on the menu?
That's,
What is on the menu?
I don't know yet.
Oh. It's always usually pretty good, so.
It's a daytime decision of what's in the freezer there. Thank you, Mel.
Surprise.
Item 12, items from city council members. Mike?
I have none this evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, I just, Michael, I was wondering, there's a section, I think, in our city charter that refers to the council and the mayor and our relationship as far as what our jobs are as far as the city. And I was wondering if we could get a copy of that. I think,
Would that be this you're talking about? City council?
yeah, that would be it.
Procedure manual?
Anyway, if you would, thank you. That's all I have.
That's it. Thank you. Ted?
I'm still seeing cars parked on lawns, stuff like that. I don't know. What do we do about that?
Our assistant planner is actually working on an ordinance right now. I'll double
Okay,
check with
so
her
that-
tomorrow morning to see where that's at, but
Okay.
my understanding is it's prepared to move forward, so.
That's part of our overall code enforcement
Yeah,
update
and it's a
plan.
series of
Yeah.
things because, you know, it's parking on the lawn and then you have to establish a percentage of your front yard that has to be reserved for landscaping. Otherwise, people just concrete their whole front yard and they're gonna say, well, I'm not parking on the lawn, I'm parking on the concrete. So, you know, and then you got a whole neighborhood, you know, your neighbor, not a whole neighborhood, but generally it's one person. You'll get one family over there and they just concrete the whole thing and they just park, you know, wherever. So, you know, this is what we're finding when we talk to other communities. You know, this isn't an isolated incident. You know, it's not only happening in Newman. It happens everywhere. So, you know, we're gonna, you know, we'll talk to you other ones. And so, anyway, Stephanie has some information that we'll be bringing forward.
We're working on stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it, Ted? Ed?
I've said enough.
You said enough?
Mm-hmm.
That's it? Sure.
I'll keep my mouth shut tonight.
Did you record that?
No comment.
Oh, yeah. I gotta be politically
Gotta watch
correct.
out, the
No
paper,
comment.
the paper's here this evening, so everybody has to be on their toes. Just a couple things that I had. Our new council members are going to League of California Cities conference, mini conference starting tomorrow for 3 days, and I'll be joining you probably tomorrow afternoon for the rest of the week. I was in Sacramento most of the day today, had a Army Corps of Engineers meeting with the colonel, which I've never met. The colonel is a 2-year appointment, and they roll in and they roll out, and another colonel comes in. And this colonel's going to be here for 6 more months, so he's going to come out hopefully in 2 months. He's never been out to our Orstema project here. I know it sounds funny. Yeah, that's what the first thing I thought is like, well, I think he is like Colonel Sanders. He's kind of like the figurehead. He is, because we were in the room with about 12 people, and, you know, he's dressed in his fatigues and all that, and he's giving the orders, you know, like he's the colonel, and they're saying, oh, yes, we'll do that, and we'll get back to them on that. And so it was a very good, productive meeting. But when he said he's gone in 6 months, you know, then that's kind of discouraging, because then you got to train another colonel. But anyway, then from there, moseyed over to the Capitol, met with Denham's staff. We might be able to get some money through Senator Denham on for the Orstema, also through this bond package that was just passed, the governor's bond package. And then I met with our new Assemblywoman, Kathleen Galgiani, also, and she's been out to the project before when Barbara Matthews was our assembly person, so had some good conversations, and it was a good day, I think. Just wanted to get a little consensus here. I know we had Mike do the invocation tonight. I'd just like to get in a routine, maybe next month, if you wanted to do it, Bob. Sure. Then I'll do it. Just kind of go down the line from our right to left in a circle like that. So it's kind of a deal I always forget sometimes, and sometimes I end up doing it myself. Or I'll call some, you know, council member in the last minute. So if we just want to do that, get it on track and go from there. And I think that's all I had. With that, we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim, did you? I forgot. Uh-oh. I forgot all about you. I'm sorry. I've been seeing too much of you lately. I forgot. Huh? Are you going to be at that meeting, Patterson? You got to hit me sooner. I'm sorry. Apologize. I forgot about that.
Hey, thank you for.
Right.